Tonight, a haunting image in the middle of the night.
We do believe that Nancy was taken for murder.
It has been a long, agonizing wait. Savannah Guthrie said it herself in her most recent public appearance, and nobody watching this case can argue with that. But while her family waits and an entire community searches, the man running this investigation just turned down yet another offer of help. Again. So here's the question that nobody seems to be getting a straight answer on. Is Sheriff Chris Nanos focused on finding Nancy Guthrie or on protecting his own ego? Because the people directly above him, his own supervisors, are now publicly calling for his resignation, and their reasons will make you question how this man became sheriff in the first place. To better understand why a lot of people are questioning the integrity of Sheriff Nanos, let's be clear on where this case stands. The Guthrie family put up $1 million of their own money and went on camera over and over begging a community to come forward with anything it had. Between 40,000 and 50,000 tips have been processed. A task force of 20 to 24 investigators, split roughly between the sheriff's office and the FBI, has been working this case every single day. Volunteers have gone out on their own time into desert terrain that does not forgive mistakes. Neighbors within a 2-mile radius were asked by the family's March 21 statement to check their cameras again, their journal notes, their text messages, anything from the evening of January 11. Savannah and her siblings appeared on a KVOA special the same night, sending a direct message to whoever took their mother. The FBI contributed $100,000 of its own to the reward. Former FBI agents gave detailed on-camera analysis. Journalists camped in Tucson for weeks. Forensic experts, retired investigators, search organizations, an entire community, all of them pointed at the same case, all of them trying. Everyone, it seems, except the one person whose signature can actually determine what resources get in. So with all of that effort in motion, why is the man who controls the door to this investigation still keeping it half closed? One of such refusals, which in my own opinion should bother people the most, is that involving the United Cajun Navy. For those who might not know, it is a nonprofit search and rescue organization with documented operational experience in exactly these kinds of cases. They submitted a 41-page plan to Nanos in late February. This was no mere phone call or casual email offering to help. 41 pages laying out 25 trained search dogs, advanced drone technology, and aerial assets ready to conduct organized grid searches across the Catalina foothills where Nancy went missing. This was a serious, prepared proposal from people who know how to search rugged terrain. Nanos declined to sign off. His stated reason was concern about contaminating a live criminal investigation. That reasoning might carry some weight if the crime scene had not already been released and accessed by reporters without a single deputy standing guard in the early days of this case. His own deputies said publicly that more bodies in a search are always better than one. Nanos disagreed. The 41-page plan has still not been approved. That alone would be enough to raise serious questions, but this was not the first time. Not even close. Go back to day 2 of this investigation. Journalist Ashley Banfield personally brought the Nancy Woodrum case to Nanos and laid out its parallels in detail. Nancy Woodrum was a 62-year-old woman who lived alone on a ranch property in Paso Robles, California. She disappeared from her bedroom in the middle of the night in May 2018. Blood in the house, bedding gone, phone and keys left behind. Her killer turned out to be a painter. A contractor who had been on her property legitimately, learned her routines, knew the layout, and knew she was alone. He came back through a sliding door while she slept. Both women lived on large, secluded properties. Both had contractors and workers regularly moving through their homes. Both cases produced unknown male DNA with no match in the National Criminal Database. Neither woman wandered. Their keys, phones, and belongings all stayed behind. The parallels run deep enough that multiple analysts who studied both cases independently described them as eerily similar. The killer was eventually identified through geofencing technology, Google location data that placed her phone inside her bedroom at the exact time she disappeared. He confessed everything, led investigators to her remains more than 60 miles away, and is now serving life without the possibility of parole. The detective who built that case from the ground up, Retired San Luis Obispo County investigator Clint Cole appeared on camera, discussed the parallels openly, and said he would always be willing to speak with any investigator who reached out. Banfield put all of that on Nanos' radar on day 2 of the Nancy Guthrie investigation. Clint Cole has since confirmed on camera that he has never received a single call from anyone in Arizona law enforcement. Not from Nanos, not from his department. And before any of that, before the Cajun Navy, before Clint Cole, there was the very first day. The Pima County Sheriff's Department has a thermal imaging search aircraft built for exactly this kind of terrain search. Nanos had clashed with the only deputy in his department qualified to fly it and had reassigned that man to street patrol before Nancy ever disappeared. When she was reported missing and the thermal plane should have been wheels up within minutes, it sat grounded for 3 hours. 3 hours in a kidnapping case is not a scheduling inconvenience. It is the window in which a person gets moved beyond the reach of every ground team and aerial asset combined. That decision was made before most of the country knew Nancy Guthrie's name. Then came the DNA. Fox News confirmed through sourcing that Nanos blocked federal agents from accessing key evidence and sent the DNA recovered from Nancy's home to a private Florida laboratory, one his department already had a standing contract with, instead of the FBI's forensic facility at Quantico, Virginia. The FBI lab processes evidence for local agencies at no cost. The private Florida lab has billed Pima County taxpayers approximately $200,000. The FBI's forensic genetic genealogy capability is among the most advanced available to any law enforcement agency in the country. Nanos chose the familiar vendor. A law enforcement official cited in that Fox News report said the decision caused earlier setbacks in the investigation and criticized Nanos directly for not requesting FBI involvement sooner. The Pima County Sheriff's Office is the primary agency in this case. The FBI can only participate when invited. That invitation comes from one person. For critical stretches of this investigation, he withheld it. The thermal plane on day 1, the FBI and the DNA lab in the first 2 weeks, the Clint Cole offer on day 2 still unanswered, the Cajun Navy in late February still unsigned. Every single time an offer of help arrived, the answer from the man in charge was some version of no. That is not a judgment call made once under difficult circumstances. That is a pattern, and the people inside his own department have been watching it long enough to have formed a very clear opinion about it. Subscribe right now and share this video, because the question of who Chris Nanos actually is and what the people directly above him are now prepared to do about it is exactly where we go next. Earlier this month, the Arizona Republic published details of Nanos' employment history with the El Paso Police Department. Details, the reporting showed, that he had apparently never disclosed to the Pima County Sheriff's Office, to voters, or to anyone else in more than 40 years. Nanos joined the El Paso Police Department in 1976. Over the next 6 years, he was suspended 8 times, a cumulative total of 37 days either suspended or on unpaid leave. The allegations across those suspensions covered nearly every category of serious misconduct a working officer can face: excessive force, discharge of his firearm, illegal gambling, habitual tardiness, failure to report to duty, insubordination, making threats, dereliction of duty, and improper use of a siren. One of those suspensions lasted weeks. Supervisor Matt Hines put it plainly on camera. 8 suspensions in 5 years is not a rough patch. That is a documented record of repeated problems. One specific incident stands apart from the rest. A man named Carlos Orias alleged that Nanos kicked and struck him in the head during an encounter, leaving him hospitalized. Assault charges were filed. A grand jury did not indict, but that allegation is in the record, and it belongs in any honest accounting of who this man is. On July 21, 1982, Nanos did not simply leave the El Paso Police Department. He submitted a resignation in lieu of termination. The documented reasons: insubordination and consistent inefficiency. He was given a choice between resigning and being fired, and he resigned. His public resume stated he remained with El Paso PD until 1984. The actual year was 1982. His resume also listed his Pima County promotion to captain as occurring in 2007. The correct year was 2009. His department described both discrepancies as clerical errors and corrected the dates on the website with no further statement attached. But the clerical error explanation did not survive once the deposition records surfaced. In December 2025, months before any of this became public, Nanos was asked under oath whether he had ever been suspended. He testified that he had not. 8 documented suspensions, a resignation submitted to avoid termination, and a sworn statement under oath that none of it ever happened. His department has not offered any explanation for how both things can be true at the same time. Union President Sergeant Aaron Cross told the Board of Supervisors directly, had this record been properly disclosed at the time of his hiring, Nanos would likely never have been brought on at Pima County at all and may never have been certified as a peace officer in the state of Arizona. Cross said it plainly, this man's past renders him unfit to wear the badge.
And then there is Rick Castigar, the man who worked alongside Nanos and supervised him as a deputy for close to 4 decades. Castigar told Brian Enton that on day 1 of Nanos' tenure as sheriff, sitting around the table with his entire leadership team, Nanos looked at the people he now commanded and told them he was going to micromanage them. Castigar said he was stunned. He described Nanos as someone who makes decisions from ego and emotion rather than evidence or outside counsel. On the Guthrie investigation specifically, Castigar said the early searches were reactionary, shaped more by public pressure and optics than by sound investigative strategy. And then he said something that connects directly to every refusal this video has laid out. Nanos is not interested in other perspectives or opinions from someone trying to help him. That is not an outside critic who has read the headlines. That is someone who sat in rooms with this man for 40 years. The Pima County Board of Supervisors spent nearly 3 hours in closed executive session on Tuesday, March 24th. When that session ended, the board voted unanimously to invoke Arizona Revised Statute 11253, a territorial-era state law that compels a county officer to submit sworn reports to the board on matters concerning their department. Draft language for the order goes before the board on April 7th. Non-compliance by Nanos is a documented legal path to removal from office. Supervisor Matt Hines, who placed the item on the agenda, told his colleagues directly that Nanos' 42-year career with Pima County appears to be built on fraud. On camera, he said he hoped Nanos would do the right thing, but described him as a very proud and stubborn man, unlikely to step down voluntarily. Sergeant Cross, addressing the board in public comment, was blunt. If Nanos will not leave on his own, use every authority available to remove him. The no-confidence vote that preceded all of this carried a number worth sitting with. Out of 306 deputies in the Pima County Deputies Organization, 241 voted no confidence and resign. 65 abstained. Not one, not a single member, voted confidence and continue. That is not a divided department registering frustration. That is a department that has made up its mind. Running alongside all of this is a separate recall effort that became active when petition papers were pulled on March 12th. Former congressional candidate Daniel Gutierrez is leading the signature collection effort. To force a special election in 2027, organizers need more than 122,000 valid signatures by July 10th. Nanos won his last race by 481 votes after a full recount, 243,891 to 243,410. He has never won this seat by a margin that would absorb the kind of pressure now building around his name. The investigation itself has not produced a break. No arrests, no named suspect. A cadaver dog stood down. The Cajun Navy still waiting. The Guthrie family still unable to hold any kind of service, still unable to grieve, still unable to move in any direction because they do not yet know where she is. Now, in all of this, Sheriff Nanos has not kept quiet. Let's consider when the Arizona Republic published the El Paso records. Nanos called it a hit piece and told the reporter good luck with it. When his department was pressed on the resume discrepancies, the official position was that both were clerical errors. The dates were corrected on the department website. No statement, no acknowledgement of what the corrected dates actually meant, just a quiet revision with nothing attached. On the sworn statement order from the Board of Supervisors, Nanos' office issued a single line: he will comply once further direction is provided by the county administrator. One more line followed: because this is a legal matter, the sheriff is unable to comment further. In the KVIA radio interview that Brian Enton obtained and analyzed carefully, Nanos said he knows a lot about this case and will not share it publicly. He said his team has firm beliefs about what happened from day one, and those beliefs have not changed. In the same interview, he described his own on-camera statements as personal opinions that should not be treated as official investigative positions. A man who says his team has a firm theory but simultaneously characterizes his public statements as merely personal opinion is not offering the community clarity. He is deciding, carefully and deliberately, what gets out and what does not. What he has said without qualification is that he has no regrets and stands by every decision made in this investigation. And in the KVOA special that aired on March 21, he sent a message directly to whoever took Nancy Guthrie: give her up, let her go, take her to a clinic, a hospital, drop her off somewhere safe, just let her go. At this point, I don't know if Nanos truly wants Nancy found. What I do know is that 306 of his own deputies, a unanimous board of supervisors, a former boss who spent 40 years watching him work, and a community that has waited through 54 days without an arrest, they have all reached the same question at the same time. Not whether he wants to find her, but whether, given everything, he is the right person to be the one who does. But I want to hear from you. What would you do if you knew Sheriff Nano personally? Tell him to resign or toughen up to the end? Do you think his past does not matter? Let us know in the comment section. The FBI tip line is 1-800-CALL-FBI. Pima County Sheriff's Department 520-351-4900. And of course, if you appreciate true crime investigation, subscribe to this channel and share this video with someone following this case. You can also check our other true crime video coverage for more.